Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show, I got count them, 4 things the Las Vegas Raiders must do before their Week 2 matchup up against the Arizona Cardinals. Now, these aren't ranked in any particular order, and we'll go through all 4 of them, and I'll break down each reason why. The first thing, you got to get Carr's confidence up. I don't know if that means investing in the offensive line. I don't know if that means sitting down with your wide receivers and tight end group and say, hey, we got your back. We're going to get open. I don't know exactly how you get Carr's confidence up, but you got to get it up. Giggity. Because when I saw this past week, he looked like lost man. He looked like he had happy feet. He looked like he wasn't ready to go out there and play. He was 22 of 37, 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. In fact, he was so bad, when you look at the quarterback grades here, according to PFF, he was ranked number 34. There were 32 starting quarterbacks. Other quarterbacks went in and played. I will 100% admit this, though. I don't always agree with PFF grades when it comes to a QB, because Patrick Mahomes threw for 5 touchdowns and almost 400 yards. He was ranked number 9. Joe Burrow had 5 turnovers. Matthew Stafford played like dick. To me, those guys played worse than Derek Carr. But I think the message here was this. DC struggled. How can you get him to bounce back? This isn't only just a 1-week problem, though. When you go back and look at his last 7 regular season games, you got to get some confidence in my man, because passing yards per game, 240.7 over his last 7 regular season games. 8 passing touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He's put the ball on the ground 7 times, and he's lost 3 of them. I believe in Derek Carr, and I want Derek Carr to succeed. But you got to get his confidence up. So Devontae, Hunter, Darren, offensive line, Josh McDaniels, let's get his confidence up here. And I think one of the things that I'm hoping can help rally him is that he still knows, even after a bad week, that Derek is the quarterback of this team. So I want you to spam DC4 if you believe in Derek Carr. You don't have to like Derek Carr. If you're rooting against him, I say shame on you, because that makes 0 sense to me. As far as I'm concerned, he is going to be the quarterback for this team the entire season. You're not going to get an upgrade. So believe in Derek Carr, because he gives you the best chance to win. So spam DC4 right now. I have been very tough on Carr. That's my job here. But you know what? You're damn right I'm going to be cheering him on the entire week. So, Derek, I got your back, man, and I hope the nation does too. So spam DC4 right now in the chat. You got to believe in him, man. You have to. He gives you the best chance. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I've had people ask me, Cam Newton, stop. Colin Kaepernick, stop. There isn't a better quarterback, a realistic option that you could get that helps you win right now more than Derek Carr. The second thing that you got to do, you got to figure out what the hell you're doing with that offensive line. Now remember, I am recording this during my live show on Tuesday. Kelechi Osemele is in for a visit today. That would be helping out your offensive line a little bit. But it's not only just going out and signing a player like Osemele. I'm a big believer in anything in sports, especially your offensive line. You don't always need to have the most talented players, but offensive line especially, continuity. You need to have chemistry, and if the Raiders' plan is to use an offensive rotation like you saw this past week, where they were subbing out Lester Cotton, Dylan Parham at right guard, Thayer Munford, Jermaine Illuminor at right tackle, I don't know how I feel about that. Josh McDaniels, when he was asked about the Raiders' offensive line, he said, we're not searching for anything. Well, that's technically not true. We're playing the guys that deserve to play. If something were to break and we say, hey, these 5 are clearly different from the other 5, then we could go in that direction. Well, when you look at the starting offensive line grades according to Pro Football Focus, I know the one that surprises me the most, Kolton Miller at 59.0, but John Simpson at 56.7, Andre James 68.8, Dylan Parham had the 3rd highest rating of all rookies at 82.3. Jermaine Illuminor, 70.6 PFF grade. And then other guys that got some snaps. Lester Cotton, he came in at right guard here and there. He had a 67.6. I'll 100% say this. I disagree with Thayer Munford's grade at 45.2. I thought he played a lot better overall than what those numbers indicate. And then when you look at the entire Raiders blocking grades according to PFF, they ranked 24th in the NFL at 55.9 in terms of pass blocking. And then their run blocking grades were 68.7, which was 7th best. Here's the thing, though. I want people to then go above and beyond when you look at numbers, because if you look at these numbers here, a lot of people will be like, oh, so the run blocking was actually better than the pass blocking. When you look at every single player that participated in that game, the answer is yes. However, when you then go to the offensive lineman, and only the offensive lineman, that answer is actually no. So here were the pass blocking grades according to PFF. Lester Cotton, 84.4. Andre James, 79.7. Dylan Parham, 73.1. Jermaine Illuminor, 66.2. Kolton Miller, 58.7. Thayer Munford, 50.8. John Simpson, 50.3, which comes out to an overall grade with just the offensive linemen that played in that game. The overall grade was 66.2. Which is better than your run blocking grade according to PFF, which came out to 64.1. Parham, run blocking, 82.6. Illuminor, 72.8. Andre James, 63.6. John Simpson, 58.5. Thayer Munford, 58.4. Lester Cotton, 58.1. Kolton Miller, 54.8. The Raiders need to get more chemistry because honestly, you watch the film, you look at the PFF numbers. I have said this so many times this week. The offensive line up against that Chargers defense, which is in fact one of the better defenses, especially with Khalil, Mack, and Joey Bosa, did an okay job. Face the facts. They did an okay job. You just need a little bit more chemistry. So if your plan is to mix and match a little bit, I still think that you need to figure out what your plan is at offensive line, because I'll be honest, I don't agree with mixing and matching all the time. So what do y'all think here? If I'm sitting up here saying, all right, figure out the O-line, I'd be a bad host if I didn't give you my starting offensive line. So this is what's going to happen. Y'all are going to get hit with a YouTube ad break, and then I am going to tell you what the offensive line for the Raiders should be. Remember, I am filming this on Tuesday, and I do not know yet if the Raiders will sign Kelechi Osemele, who is in for a visit. If that doesn't happen, if they don't sign Osemele, this is the starting offensive line I would go with up against the Cardinals. I'm going to go with Kolton Miller at left tackle, Dylan Parham over John Simpson at left guard, Andre James at center, Lester Cotton at right guard, Jermaine Illuminor at right tackle. I could also entertain the idea of flirting with, maybe even go with Thayer Munford at right tackle. But from what I saw this past week, John Simpson does not deserve to be out there on the field. And who knows? Maybe that's why he deleted his Twitter account. Now, if you want to join me on Locals, I really recommend it. Not only are we going to do videos, 2 videos a week, 1 live show every week, we're interactive, and we're doing a Pick'em challenge every single week. The winner, you get a t-shirt. We're going to do different prizes throughout the season. Last week, I gave away a $50 gift card. Shout out to Def Jasper. Brandon, shout out to you, bro, for winning that. But you can join the challenge at chatsports.com/week2. Or shout out to Winnie the Pooh. You can scan this QR code right here with your phone. Join the community, over 2,000 people there. Become a supporter and compete in my NFL Week 2 challenge. It really just comes down to whoever can pick the most games right. Let's go to the next thing. Rest up and get healthy. I do not have the official injury report yet, but I know that there were several players that were injured in that Chargers game. You got to figure out a way to get healthy, man. Now, maybe you look at some of these injuries. Andre James, center, dealing with that concussion. Maybe that's the reason why you signed Billy Price. He could be your potential starting center. Trevon Merrick, free safety, the hip. All right, well, maybe that's why you signed Nikel Roby-Coleman. Is that why you have Vernon Hargreaves in for a visit? Denzel Perriman, he needs to get healthy if that ankle's bothering. Brandon Bolden, he posted something on his Twitter, but that knee injury scared me a little bit. DJ Turner, ankle. Andrew Billings, we still don't know what that is yet. And then Anthony Averett, dealing with a thumb injury. He's already on IR. You got to rest up, and you have to get healthy going up against Arizona. The final thing, add a free agent. And when I woke up this morning, when I walked into work, actually yesterday, I tweeted out, buckle up, it's going to be an entertaining week. I was told by a source that the Raiders could sign not 1, but potentially up to 2 or 3 big-name free agents. I heard that, And I was like, oh, man, who are they going to be? Now, depending on what you consider a big-name free agent is, right? They signed Billy Price to the practice squad. I don't really see that being a big name. Nickell Robey-Coleman, he was signed by the Raiders. All right, that's a pretty big name to me. I was hoping to get something on offensive line like Darrell Williams, but you know what? Kelechi Osemele, that's a big-time name around Raider Nation. So if they're able to make some of these moves, you add some of these players here to the free agents in terms of bringing them in. Vernon Hargreaves, is that move about to go down? We will see. All of them have been brought in. To me, though, with the amount of salary cap that the Raiders have, it's currently standing at $11.75 million, second most in the National Football League, you got to do something. You can't pitter-patter. You can't just stand around. You have to do something, and I am hoping that that's adding some free agents. Now, I'll go through a list here of some of the needs that the Raiders have, and this is, again, it sucks, and I'm just going to be honest with you. When we build graphics, sometimes stuff happens, and then we switch it up a little bit. But I still think defensive tackle is the biggest team need. Offensive line is still a team need. Edge rushers, I want the Raiders to be a little bit more efficient at being able to get after the quarterback. I could say cornerback / secondary and then linebacker. Though, since the Raiders added Nickell Robey-Coleman, my answer to cornerback here might change a little bit. So, what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to go through and show y'all, okay, at least some free agents at every single one of these positions in terms of guys that I would call or guys that the Raiders have been linked to in some aspect this offseason. If the Raiders sign any of these players, remember, we're going to be making a video or so. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure those notifications are turned on. Sheldon Richardson, Linval Joseph, these are still the top two defensive tackles available on the free agent market. And Dominic Sussman, the guy we've been talking about for a very long time. The only dude that's really been linked recently to the Raiders has been Danny Shelton. So keep an eye on him. And then Kingsley Keke, he's probably the next best defensive tackle available outside of these names here. What about your offensive linemen, okay? So I was going to bring up Kelechi, and then the Raiders had him in for a visit, so that makes me happy. But Darrell Williams, Kelechi's more probably of a left guard now. Darrell Williams can play offensive tackle, right guard. That doesn't look like it's going to happen. Bobby Massey's a tackle. Eric Flowers is a guard. Brandon Shell, he's an offensive tackle. There's still good offensive linemen out there. For your edge rushers to sign, Jason Pierre-Paul, he's the top name. I also, though, would love to be able to bring in a guy like Ben Samayoa, who was a really, really big help in helping Max Crosby get his footing in the NFL. Great 8-sack season back in 2019. Jeremiah Achu, he's got ties with Chicago. Could see him bring in Everson Griffin. He has some ties with some of these Raiders coaches. What about cornerbacks, okay? The cornerbacks here, I knew that Nickell Robey-Coleman was going to be coming to the team. At least it was reported. And then there was kind of a wishy-washy thing, but it sounds like it is official now. Malcolm Butler, he's got ties. Chris Harris Jr. is a great inside corner. Jack Rabbit Jenkins, he's played in a lot of Patrick Graham systems. Joe Hayden, T.J. Carey came in on a visit. On your linebacker position, if you're nervous about Denzel Perriman, Jamie Collins was a name that I was told he could potentially sign with the Raiders this week. Alec Ogletree, Reggie Ragland, Blake Martinez all have ties with Patrick Graham. And then Donta Hightower would be a great leader as a middle linebacker if Denzel Perriman is, in fact, actually hurt with that ankle injury. So I went through a lot of names there. And I know, lot of names to get to. But you know what? I want to know from the nation. I want you to name a free agent that the Raiders should sign down below. You know what? I'm going to give some shout-outs.